Chapter
NK
321, Stealing Sleep? The corner of So Fong's mouth twitched. He felt the little hand restlessly on his chest and carefully moved it away. The girl's sleeping posture was not much different. "Sister, today it seems not much bigger," Lu Waimong whispered, rubbing her head against So Fong's chest until she settled down. So Fong kept silent. If Lu Wai Thursday heard that, Lu Waimong's head would gain another bump. "She seems only a bit heavier than Van Han, otherwise nothing different." He thought quietly. The chest was almost flat, without any pressure. His mind leapt. Could both girls be flat because of this? No. Lu Waimong shifted closer, her leg also pressed up, treating him as a warm pillow. Because of the blizzard, the drone had entered the cave, hidden, capturing the scene and sending it to the monitoring room. Is this a restricted show? Why do I feel Lu Waimong is stealing sleep, and at this moment? Yes, I feel the same. Do not think badly, Lu Waimong is not like that. Honestly, I also want to squeeze So Fong's chest. It must feel good. Your thoughts are worse than dirty water. Just like Van Han. So Fong smiled helplessly. The scene was so familiar. He stretched his neck, found comfort, then draped his hand over her waist to prevent her from falling. He yawned, glanced at the fire, saw nothing strange, closed his eyes, murmured, "Time to sleep." Crackle. The firewood popped. The rainy night on Xian Noyet Island was quiet. Hoo-hoo. Cold wind blew snow across the forest. Snow doubled compared to yesterday. Brother. Lu Waimong trembled, slowly opened her eyes. Suddenly she felt strange, stiffly turned her head. What am I doing? She quickly moved off So Fong, face blushing, noticing the wet fur on his chest. Did she drool in sleep? Could So Fong have done something last night? Her brows furrowed, imagination running wild. She checked herself, opened her shirt, found no marks, body fine, she sighed. Scaring myself? Lu Waimong, what are you thinking? So Fong is not that kind. She muttered, cheeks burning, biting her lip. Beneath her, So Fong clenched his teeth to hold back laughter. He had woken earlier, peeking through his eyelids, knowing all her moves, but kept acting asleep. She glanced at him lying still, confirmed he slept, exhaled. Who? Was it me who intruded? She wondered, finger on chin, thinking it possible. Her easygoing nature made her shrug. Since her body was fine, clearly nothing happened, so not important. She picked up the iron pot, stepped out to collect snow. Only then did So Fong smile faintly, his tense face relaxing, otherwise he would laugh out loud, for her look was so cute. After a while, she returned. He shut his eyes again, pretending sleep. Waking now would cause suspicion. The snow still has not stopped. She muttered. The storm outside raged on, no way to leave. She decided to cook breakfast, then see So Fong's decision. She built a large fire, put the pot on, melting snow. He yawned, opened his eyes, pretending just to wake, greeted, "Morning, did you sleep well?" His lips twitched, suppressing laughter. "How did you sleep? Anything unusual?" she asked shyly, tense. It was fine, only felt something pressing, hard to breathe. He frowned, feigning puzzlement, hand on chest. Maybe not used to sleeping. She laughed awkwardly, bowed her head, added firewood. She threw all wood into the fire, burning big. She panicked, pulled wood out, ran outside, poured snow to put it out. He smiled bitterly, deciding not to tease her more, or the cave would burn. So Fong, the snow still has not stopped, she said helplessly. I will check. He whispered, stepped outside, looked to the sky. Today no fog, though gray, light could be seen. By noon it should stop, he murmured. He scanned around, saw nothing odd, then returned to the cave. Chapter 322, Snow Blindness. Inside the camp, Van Han and Lu Wai Thursday woke early, pushed open the wooden door and looked outside. The snowstorm still hasn't stopped. The weather on Xian Noyet Island is truly awful. Van Han pouted helplessly. Who knows when it will end? Lu Wai Thursday's beautiful eyes showed worry. If the storm continued, how could her sister and So Phong return? I wonder how they are now. Van Han slowly closed the door. She had wanted to look for So Phong, but with such weather, she might never return. They must still be sheltering. Lu Wai Thursday whispered, adding water into the iron pot above the fireplace. Neither had washed yet. Van Han's eyes were dark from fatigue. She prayed softly, may they be safe. They had stayed awake all night by the fire. Until dawn they finally lay down, tossing restlessly before drifting off, and when they woke, morning had arrived. Don't worry, when the storm passes, they will surely return. Lu Wai Thursday comforted her gently. Then I'll prepare breakfast. Van Han, forced to smile, stood and began cooking. In the cave, Lu Wai Mong stirred melting snow in the pot with a bamboo spoon, dropping in meat to boil. So Phong brushed snow from his clothes and sat beside the fire. By noon it should stop, then we'll head back. He spoke calmly. Hunting never guarantees a catch. He sighed, his voice heavy. I worry about Van Han. We should return soon. Yes, next time we'll go out again. Lu Wai Mong nodded. Soon, a steaming meal was ready. They sat by the fire to eat. Chewing meat, she mumbled, still, Van Han cooks better. Your cooking is good too. He smiled, she had improved much, at least no longer added salt twice. All right. He replied softly. After eating, they sat warming by the fire, waiting for the storm to pass. To pass the time, Lu Wai Mong drew simple shapes on the ground, still hours before noon. So Phong frowned, curious, what are you drawing? NK books. It's Go Dan. She chuckled. Go Dan. His lips twitched, he stared at the pig-like sketch silently. Time crawled. 3 hours later the storm faded away. Excited, she peeked out. So Phong, the snow stopped. Pack up, we're going back. He smiled faintly. Okay. She quickly gathered things into the basket. After tidying, they left the cave. Whew. She breathed deeply, sighing, the air outside is better. Come, let's go. He shouldered the basket and led. Wait for me. She cried, pulling her foot from the snow. She hurried after him, muttering, I'm light, yet I still sink, how odd. He stifled a laugh, wisely saying nothing about weight. Step by step they pressed through thick snow toward camp. Nearly an hour later. Don't rub your eyes. He warned, quickly holding her hand back. Lifting her chin, he coaxed, raise your head, open your eyes slowly. It stings. She blushed, opening slowly, her eyes already swollen. It's mild, just the start. He sighed in relief. What's wrong with my eyes? She asked, resisting the urge to rub. Snow blindness. Snow blindness, what's that? She was puzzled. It's caused by ultraviolet rays reflecting off snow, damaging the eyes. He explained. But I can't walk with eyes closed. She complained, surrounded by snow under the sun. I'll carry you, once we reach the forest shade you can walk again. He decided. That? She flushed, peeking shyly. Wait. She narrowed her eyes, shielding them, then stacked both baskets on his back. At last, she climbed onto his back, wrapping her arms around his neck. Go. He held her legs and carried her. Resting her head on his shoulder, she asked softly, aren't you afraid of snow blindness? I don't feel any symptoms. He said calmly, his eyes enhanced by medicine, immune to it. Their weight together pressed him deep into snow, but with his unusual strength, he kept moving forward. Chapter 323, Nature Comes to the Door. So Phong walked through the thick snow, leaving a winding trail of footprints behind. Lu Wai Mong half closed her eyes, staring at the back of his head, shyly asking, is it heavy? She dared not look elsewhere, the snow was too bright and the reflected sunlight hurt her eyes. So Phong curled his lips, teasing, not heavy, much lighter than a mountain goat. Lu Waimong pressed her lips, holding back the urge to bite his shoulder, softly saying, "So Phong, if you keep this up you will never have a girlfriend." Ha ha ha. So Phong laughed freely, remembering someone once said he was the type of man who should just cook for a lifetime. "How much longer do we need to walk?" Lu Waimong asked quietly. So Phong quickly stopped laughing and whispered, "Maybe 2 hours more, we can return to camp before dark." "Let me down, I will walk myself, it will be faster." Lu Waimong struggled. "No need, just lie down quietly." So Phong held her tighter and instinctively patted her hip. Lu Waimong's beautiful face instantly turned red, her ears blushed like ripe peaches, and she lay still. The corner of So Fong's eye twitched, he finally realized she was truly a young maiden. Lu Waimong glanced at him, pouting, "It is fine." "That is good then." So Phong smiled awkwardly and focused on walking. After half an hour, he suddenly stopped when he saw a snow mound ahead with a strange shape. It looked somewhat like an animal. "So Phong, what is it?" Lu Waimong asked suspiciously, opening her eyes slightly. "Get down first, let me see what it is." So Phong whispered. "All right." Lu Waimong quickly released his wrist, jumped down, and stepped on the soft snow. So Phong carried his chopping knife, carefully approached the odd snow mound, and felt no danger. He calmly dug away the snow, revealing what was hidden beneath. His eyes shone, he smiled softly. "This is like searching hard and failing, then finding it without effort." "What?" Lu Waimong came closer, squinting down, then exclaimed, "This is a deer?" So Phong dug deeper, revealing a leg with patterned fur, indeed a deer. "It is dead." Lu Waimong poked it, the body was frozen solid. "There is another leg, dig the whole thing out." So Phong continued working with the knife. "So Phong, there is also a red wolf." Lu Waimong cried out in shock when another animal was revealed. "Interesting." So Phong frowned in thought. The red wolf bit the deer's front leg, frozen in that posture until both died. What happened? Why did they all die here? Lu Waimong wondered. The red wolf was injured, perhaps kicked when attacking the deer, then the snowstorm came, neither could escape. So Phong analyzed. He saw the wolf's hind leg bent unnaturally, clearly broken, likely from the deer's desperate kick. This was the most reasonable explanation, showing why the red wolf, though it caught its prey, still lost its life. The spectators all commented wildly. "Unbelievable, even this can happen? Such incredible luck, just walking and finding meat. The girl's luck strikes again, she should buy a lottery ticket. The best way to get rich overnight is to marry Lu Waimong, maybe she will win millions in the lottery." So Phong patted the wolf's body, smiling, "We have materials for our clothes now." He, stripping the fur is enough to make our clothes." Lu Waimong joked, her gloom gone. "Yes, plenty." So Phong nodded. "Let me help carry it, you do not need to carry me." Lu Waimong said, though she still could not see clearly, at least she would not bump into branches. "No need, I will make a sled and drag them back." So Phong smiled, took his knife and went to the woods. "Ah? You can also make a sled?" Lu Waimong was surprised. "Very simple, no need to be fine, just something to drag is enough," books. He replied. He chose 2 trees as thick as his arm, chopped them down and cut into meter-long pieces. On snowy ground, the larger the surface area, the easier to move. Lu Waimong squinted, unable to see clearly, so she crouched nearby. Waiting. The snow still made her eyes sting, she needed rest. "Later I will find herbs for you, apply them and you will recover quickly." So Phong said softly. "All right." Lu Waimong nodded obediently. After half an hour, So Phong finished the sled, tied 2 ropes at the front to pull. He dragged it to the deer and red wolf, pried open the stiff wolf's jaw to release the deer's leg. He put the wolf on the sled, then lifted the deer as well, tied them with ropes to secure them. "This should work." So Phong muttered, pulling the rope to test that they would not fall. Chapter 324, Unwilling to Let Go. No need, I will go back together with you. Lu Waimong quickly waved her hand. Your eyes are not well, you should sit down. So Phong gently advised. No need, I will just hold your clothes, if careful nothing will happen. Lu Waimong shook her head firmly. Then you must also be careful. So Phong frowned. Yes, let us hurry, if we do not return before dark it will be troublesome. Lu Waimong urged with a smile. All right. So Phong smiled faintly, calculating time. At this pace returning to camp was not a problem. He grabbed the sled rope, stepped forward, and dragged it behind. Lu Waimong held his coat with one hand, tried to help pull with the other, but soon realized she could not keep up. She wanted him to slow down, but feared not making it back, so she let herself be dragged along. In the observation room, Ha Min's group still focused on them. I said it already, walk further and you will find prey. No Tin Noyed blinked with a smug smile. Truly such outrageous luck. Ha Min laughed bitterly, even doubting the show-planted deer and wolves. Fortunately he had not gone with No Tin Noyed yesterday, or he would be embarrassed today. What will they find next? No Tin Noyed smiled, resting her chin. Vong Lam pursed lips in silence. Since So Phong and Lu Waimong are safe, let us look at the other contestants. Ha Min said softly. They still walked toward camp, the sun was lowering, light turning soft. So Phong, can I open my eyes? Van Han asked gently. Try, if it stings then close again. So Phong replied. She cautiously opened them, whispered, it seems much better, but still blurry. Yes. Lu Waimong blushed, uneasy under So Phong's gaze. So Phong smiled, let us go, camp is near. He pulled the sled with strength and moved on. In camp. Sister Thursday, please stay hidden, has Aunt not returned? Van Han dressed neatly, ready to go find them. It is fine, I will go with you. Lu Wai Thursday quickly dressed warmly. After the storm ended, her younger sister insisted on going, she could not persuade, so she followed. Are you sure it is fine? Van Han worried. No problem, let us go. Lu Wai Thursday said softly. Wait, put this scarf on. Van Han took out the cloth scarf, wrapped it around her. Since she wore only fur, it would be safer. They pushed open the gate and entered the forest. Do you know where they went? Lu Wai Thursday asked. They said southwest, let us check there. Van Han replied. They held hands and entered the forest southwest. After more than 20 minutes. Look, here is his mark, we are right. Van Han exclaimed seeing the sign. Toa Toa Toa. So Phong is near, this place is familiar. Lu Waimong's voice echoed. That is Sister Mon's voice. Van Han's eyes lit up, both relieved. She called, So Phong, Sister Mon, we are here. Ah? Lu Waimong surprised, it sounds like Van Han. Yes, I see them too. So Phong smiled, spotting the two figures. Sister, we are here. Lu Waimong waved, face blooming with joy. A few minutes later, four met. So Phong, you scared me so much. Van Han's eyes reddened, she rushed to hug him. It is fine, I am back now. So Phong smiled warmly, opening arms. He patted her back, gently asked, it is so cold, why not stay inside? It is fine. He gently wiped her tears. Lu Wai Thursday sighed in relief seeing her sister, asked softly, are you all right? Except my eyes still hurt, everything is fine. Lu Waimong waved carelessly. Your eyes hurt? What happened? Lu Wai Thursday frowned worried. So Phong said it is snow blindness, medicine will cure. Lu Waimong explained. She even proudly explained, for once she could lecture her sister. Lu Wai Thursday glared, snow blindness and you are happy? No, one must not get snow blindness, I already see you blurred. Lu Waimong replied shyly. Chapter 325, Waiting to be Fed. Van Han calmed down, seeing the deer and the red wolf on the sled. She asked, "Did you meet a red wolf?" "No, we just picked them up." So Phong smiled, the words sounded amusing. Picked up? Van Han and Lu Wai Thursday were stunned. Yes, just picked up. Lu Waimong briefly explained the encounter. The girls exchanged wry smiles, their luck seemed too good. All right, let us return quickly, it is getting dark. So Phong said, raising his head. The sun had set, the sky dim. Okay. The three girls replied, pulling the sled back. With combined strength, after half an hour in the night, they returned safely. Go inside and rest. So Phong dragged the sled in. So Phong, you rest, I will handle the deer and the wolf. Van Han rolled her sleeves but quickly pulled them down in the cold. Do not, the temperature drops sharply at night, better do it tomorrow, avoid catching cold. So Phong advised, snow would preserve them for days. He placed them in the yard, piled snow on top, making a natural freezer. Good. Van Han nodded, the four went inside, closing the wooden door. I will cook ginger soup. Van Han busied by the fire, filled the iron pot, cut ginger slices in. I will help cook dinner. Lu Waimong stood up. No need, Sister Mong, just rest. Van Han waved. So Phong searched jars, found herbs collected before. He rinsed them, put into a bamboo tube, stirred with a stick. So Phong is preparing medicine, quick, bring the notebook. Blocked again, hateful, cunning. We demand more cameras here, covering all angles. Yes, but not to watch them sleep, trust me. You jest, pay your debts first. Add some mint. So Phong muttered, shielding from cameras, tore mint into the tube. Soon, herbs turned to paste, he spread on cloth, folded as an eye mask. So Phong, put it directly on eyes? Lu Waimong hesitated. Of course, do not move. So Phong smiled, helped her sit. All right. She pouted, closed eyes. He carefully tied the cloth over her eyes. Cold. She whispered. Stay still, tomorrow it will improve. He reminded. Got it. She nodded, felt the table edge, leaned. He washed hands. 10 minutes later, Van Han brought ginger soup in bowls. Here. So Phong handed to Lu Waimong. Thanks. She lowered head, sipped, warmed up. Half an hour later, Lu Wai Thursday set a pot, another girl served boar stir-fry. Sit, let us eat. Van Han smiled, happier, even used boar oil for stir-fry. Lu Wai Thursday served stew. Where are chopsticks? Lu Waimong fumbled, hungry from the smell. Here. Lu Wai Thursday gave her. Where is meat? She asked again, stabbing air with chopsticks. So fragrant. She smiled, though blind, still eager. After swallowing, she faced So Phong, open mouth. Sister, another piece. Here. Lu Wai Thursday laughed, turned her head. Ha, cannot see. Lu Waimong joked, opened mouth waiting. So Phong. Van Han softly called, eyes expectant. Here, you two eat meat. So Phong smiled, fed her. Ha ha. The girl chewed happily. Can you balance? Lu Wai Thursday frowned, handed her bowl. Trust me. Lu Waimong said confidently, carefully ate. Seeing her manage, Lu Wai Thursday relaxed, though still helped sometimes. After half an hour, the four finished. Lu Wai Thursday washed dishes. So Phong drank pine tea, sighed, it feels good to be back. Chapter 326, Snow House? Inside the camp, after the four bathed, they sat around the hearth built into the wall and talked. Sua Phong, you probably will not need to go out hunting anymore? Van Han asked softly because she did not want to worry waiting at the camp each time. If nothing unexpected happens, you probably won't need to. Sua Feng answered thoughtfully and quietly. Today Tang had brought back a deer and a red wolf, skinned them into fur garments for him and Louis Meng, and the four had enough warm clothes. The meat was plentiful, so unless something unexpected happened, they did not need to go hunting. Ah! Louis Thursday yawned. Go to sleep, you all likely did not sleep well last night. Sua Feng said softly and looked at the two young women with clear dark circles under their eyes. Louis Thursday replied lightly, then climbed onto the large bed, pulled up the blanket and lay down. Van Han yawned and crawled into her sleeping bag, whispering, Sua Feng, you should sleep a bit earlier too. Sua Feng added some logs to the hearth, dusted his hands, and went to the hidden nook by the pillar to check the baby squirrel in the bamboo cage. Chi the squirrel curled up, fur bristling, watching Sua Feng warily. I'll give you a walnut. Sua Feng smiled, smashed a walnut and put it into the cage to begin taming it. Chi the squirrel hesitated but used its claws to hold the nut and began to eat. Sua Feng watched, sat up, stretched his tired back, and returned to the big bed, took off his boots and slipped into the sleeping bag. He decided to sleep earlier tonight since he had not rested well. Van Han turned and hugged Sua Feng's waist to feel reassured and quickly fell asleep. Sua Feng looked at her beautiful face, smiled slightly, and closed his eyes to drift off. Far on the other side of the hill, a forest of bamboo was covered in white snow. Cock cock. Zhang Jinhua suddenly coughed twice, his lips turning blue from the cold. Too cold. Li Huan shivered and edged closer to the fire. Since the snow fell, the two kept watch by the fire every day and only went out to fetch wood when the fire was low. They endured these days by sheer will. Knock knock knock. A small sound echoed. Wild greens are very hard to find now. Li Huan touched his growling stomach and recounted searching for wood during the day while hoping to find greens. They dug the frozen ground around, nearly freezing half their bodies, and finally found 2 pieces of bamboo shoot, then ran back to warm up. Let's leave, we cannot endure to the end. Zhang Jinhua said angrily with bloodshot eyes. Li Huan shook his head and resolutely said, No, we must not leave. You're crazy, if we keep going like this we will freeze to death. Zhang Jinhua snapped and tugged at his thin clothes. Li Huan's lips moved dryly as he forced, There will be a way. What way? Zhang Jinhua asked in anger. Li Huan awkwardly admitted, I haven't thought it through yet. Zhang Jinhua glanced at the camera and said in a choked voice, What's good about this place? Not enough to eat, not warm enough to wear, we couldn't survive even a year, let alone this winter. Perseverance is victory. Li Huan whispered. Don't indulge in vain illusions. Zhang Jinhua warned coldly. This isn't illusion, it's possible. Li Huan insisted. So you simply don't want to leave? Zhang Jinhua sneered, angry. Li Huan trembled and said, I do not want to leave. Zhang Jinhua's fingers trembled with rage. Outside, some people discussed the two and praised their endurance. Snow house? Zhang Jinhua froze and asked, Can one build a warm room out of snow this cold? Li Huan explained that snow has porous pockets that trap air and thereby conserve heat, similar to a thick quilt. Even so, in this cold, if we build a snow house, we might die before finishing it. Zhang Jinhua murmured. We'll discuss tomorrow, tonight I don't want to go out. He curled up by the fire to forget his hunger. Li Huan sighed quietly. Knock knock knock. The sound repeated. What about food? Zhang Jinhua muttered, Their 2 pieces of bamboo shoot were finished. Or try looking for bamboo rats? Li Huan suggested. You look more like a bamboo rat. Zhang Jinhua teased. They had not seen bamboo rats in days, perhaps they hid deep in the earth. You dig tomorrow. Zhang Jinhua said and closed his eyes to forget hunger. Li Huan opened his mouth in helplessness but accepted. Chapter 327, a bit more refined. Who, still as cold as ever. Luai Thursday rubbed her arms, she was the first to get up today. She gently pushed the wooden door of the shelter, glanced around the yard, saw the snow piled higher over the hidden deer and red wolf, then quickly closed the door. The dazzling reflection on the snow made her uncomfortable. Looks like when the sun rises, we should not go out too often, she muttered, not wanting to end up like her sister, suffering snow blindness and needing medicine. She went to the wall stove, lit the fire to warm the shelter. A clay jar of water had a thin ice layer. Once the fire was lit, it began to melt. She poured water into the iron pot and placed it on the stove. After half an hour, Van Han, So Phong, and Lu Waimong also woke up. So early, Thursday sister, you got up fast today. Van Han yawned, full of spirit, clearly slept well last night. Good morning. Lu Wai Thursday smiled. The water is ready, you can wash first. All right. Van Han scooped water with a ceramic bowl, took a towel and toothbrush, and went to the washroom. So Phong, can this be taken off now? Lu Waimong sat up, touched her eye patch. All right. So Phong softly untied it and removed the herbal cloth. He put it aside and asked, open your eyes, does it still hurt? Her long lashes trembled, she blinked, then smiled, no pain, no discomfort at all. That is good. So Phong smiled. Lu Wai Thursday frowned slightly, your eyes are fine, but the green ring looks like poison. At her temple remained a faint green mark, 3 fingers wide. Ah. Really? Lu Waimong quickly touched but felt nothing odd. It will fade in a few days. So Phong explained, it was just herbal residue, once the body renews, it will vanish. Good, I thought I would be scarred. She sighed, patting her flat chest. No, do not worry. So Phong reassured. He tossed the cloth into the stove, then went out. It will not snow today. He looked at the sky, the sun shone but with little warmth. He returned, took the chopping knife, preparing to deal with the deer and red wolf. So Phong, let me help. Lu Waimong came with her army knife. No need, the sun is bright today, be careful your snow blindness returns. So Phong waved. I will face the shelter, not the snow. She squatted with her back to the snow. All right. She nodded, then cut open the wolf's neck. Frozen stiff, hard to skin. So Phong muttered, using the chopping knife carefully. After half an hour, they managed to skin them, though much meat still clung. So Phong scraped the hides clean and set them by the stove. 10 minutes later, the hides softened, he put them in water with ash to soak. Eat first, do the rest later. Van Han called, the table was set for breakfast. All right. So Phong sat down to eat. Chewing, Van Han asked, So Phong, what do you want the ash for? The jars are already full. She had carefully collected it before, not knowing its use. You will see. He smiled, not saying it was for crude cement, keeping it a surprise. After breakfast, So Phong and Lu Waimong returned to chop meat. Too hard, cannot cut. She gritted her teeth. After a while, she angrily fetched the engineer's shovel, sawing through the wolf's body. Another hour passed before they finished, storing the meat in sealed jars under the eaves. So Phong, what next? She wiped blood from her hands with snow. Go to the beach, fetch some bamboo. He said softly, the pen needed it. I will go with you. Van Han and Lu Waimong spoke together. Are you sure? Van Han asked, worried he would disappear for half a day. Sure. He nodded, then added, Waimong, you just recovered, better stay. All right. She pouted but agreed. Be careful on the way. Van Han waved. Got it. He replied firmly. The snow was thick, he walked more than 40 minutes to reach the bamboo beach. Make a sled, can carry more. He murmured, cut bamboo. Half an hour later, the simple sled was finished. He tied the bamboo bundles and dragged them. Chapter 328, Planting. Van Han, do not worry too much, the seaside is safer. Lu Wai Thursday whispered. But there are saltwater crocodiles there. Van Han replied softly. Could it be that So Phong went to hunt crocodiles? Lu Waimong asked in surprise, her long lashes trembling, a hint of regret in her heart for not following him. Probably not. Van Han answered uncertainly, her worry grew heavier because of Lu Waimong. Had ha. Lu Waimong smiled awkwardly, making a zipper gesture over her lips. Toa toa toa. From the forest came rustling sounds, something was approaching. A moment later, So Phong appeared in their sight. You are back. Van Han let out a sigh of relief, hurrying to help pull the sled. It should not be more than 20 small ones, right? So Phong smiled as he looked at the girl running toward him. Just right. Van Han blushed and replied. The Lu sisters also ran over to help, dragging the sled full of bamboo into the yard. So Phong, did you bring back all the bamboo by the seaside? Lu Waimong exclaimed, that amount looked close to 100 stalks. There are still many left, today this is my limit. So Phong smiled, pulling this much bamboo had already cost him great effort. Do you want to continue making cultivation racks? Lu Waimong asked. Yes, today we will finish the cultivation room. So Phong nodded. I will help you. Lu Waimong held the army knife, squinting as she walked to the snowy ground between the shelter and the cultivation room. Lu Wai Thursday and the young girl stayed inside the shelter weaving cloth. The four of them still needed a large amount of fabric, especially the Lu sisters whose blankets were too thin and had to be layered with many sheets. So Phong squatted by the furnace wall to check, ensuring no cracks, then stuffed in dry grass and bark, striking a spark to ignite. After a while, the room became warm. Almost as warm as the shelter. Lu Waimong whispered. Because here we have no underground heating. So Phong explained, the cultivation room was only for mushrooms and wild greens, no need for floor heating. He took the chopping knife and started to process the bamboo. The two spent nearly 2 hours, building 2 more racks placed in the empty space. Thus, the room now had 4 racks, each with 10 layers, 40 in total, enough to supply wild greens and mushrooms for 4 people. Lu Waimong cleaned up the bamboo scraps, tossing them into the furnace to burn. So Phong, Sister Mong, I will cook some sweet soup. Van Han called as she pushed the door, her eyes quickly glancing at them. He, let us go, it is done here. Lu Waimong pulled Van Han's arm, both girls ran back to the shelter. More than 20 minutes later, the 4 finished the sweet soup, sitting by the furnace chatting. What will we do next? Lu Waimong tilted her head and asked. Before more snow falls, we need to clear the snow around the fence, otherwise beasts may use the depth to cross. So Phong said in a deep voice. Then I will help you. Lu Waimong rolled up her sleeves. There is only 1 shovel, you should stay to help me handle the charcoal. So Phong smiled. Charcoal? How to handle it? For what? Lu Waimong was surprised and asked quickly. Break the charcoal into small pieces, the smaller the better, it will be used to plant wild greens. So Phong explained, taking charcoal from a jar, smashing it with a stone, then piling it aside. The jar contained not only charcoal but also ash from bark and hay. Really thick. He smiled bitterly, shoveling big blocks of snow, tossing them outside the camp. He repeated the action for nearly half an hour, finally clearing a trench half a meter deep within 2 meters around the fence. Wiping his sweaty forehead, he sighed, if it snows again, we will need to shovel again. After half an hour of work, sweating heavily, he returned to the shelter, drank warm water to regain strength. So Phong, is this enough? Lu Waimong pointed at the small mountain of gray charcoal. He combined the ash from 2 jars into one, emptied a cauldron for the charcoal. He shoveled the charcoal into the cauldron, then carried it to the cultivation room. Lu Waimong followed, asking curiously, "Are we planting the wild greens now?" "Yes, before dark. Planting earlier means eating earlier." So Phong smiled, digging soil under the snow, mixing it with charcoal in the cauldron. After more than half an hour, the soil and charcoal mixed evenly. He carried the cauldron inside. "How do we do it?" Lu Waimong asked awkwardly. "Simple, put the soil into the bamboo grooves, fill them up." So Phong guided, showing her. "Only that?" Lu Waimong asked in surprise, copying him. "What else did you expect?" So Phong laughed bitterly. Planting wild greens was simple, the hardest part was building the cultivation room. He pulled out a paper packet, opening it to reveal wild green seeds he had gathered while out in the snow. Chapter 329, I Can Too. "It looks very simple." Lu Waimong eagerly chimed in. She had never dared to touch wild vegetables before. She had just emptied the earthen jar of water, then filled 2 bamboo grooves. "Then you sow." So Phong handed her the wild vegetable seeds, softly reminding, "Do not sow too many in one bamboo groove, about 7 or 8 seeds are enough." He knew if planted too densely, nutrients would not be enough, affecting their growth. "All right, I know." Lu Waimong excitedly held the seeds, crouched down and began sowing from the bottom layer. She counted softly, 1, 5, 6, 7. "No need to be so precise, 2 more seeds are fine." So Phong said with a wry smile, if each groove needed exact counting, they would still be sowing by night. "Fine, 5, 6, 7. Lu Waimong pouted and nodded, but still muttered. He went back to the shelter, fetched 2 clay jars and a bamboo tube, filled with water and returned. So Phong used the bamboo tube to scoop water from the jars, gently pouring into each seeded groove. 1 tube watered 3 grooves. NK books. Soon the jars were empty, so he refilled, walking back and forth. Van Han blinked her long lashes. Seeing So Phong bring water again, she asked curiously, "So Phong, why not place a water vat in the cultivation room?" His lips twitched. He answered steadily, "It is getting dark, waiting for snow to melt is too late." He himself felt amused, busy enough to forget something so simple, needing the girl to remind him. He returned again with full jars, this time not rushing to water, but carried out the old ash vat, filled it with snow instead. No more running back and forth now. So Phong sighed. Today he had been foolish. He watered the remaining grooves. The extra water drained through the holes. The bamboo grooves formed an X shape, each layer drained straight to the ground. "Finally done, my waist aches." Lu Waimong kept the seed wrapper, unwilling to waste. She rubbed her waist, then stood up, feeling both sore and pleasant. "Go rest first." So Phong smiled, his hand brushed her waist through fur clothes, pressing lightly to improve blood flow. She twisted her body, surprised. "So Phong, your hand feels magical." His lips twitched. He waved, "Go rest, once I light the fire we can eat dinner." "Okay." Lu Waimong blushed slightly, pushing the door to leave. Van Han came out, meeting her. She asked softly, "Where is So Phong? Not done yet?" "He said once the fire burns he will come." Lu Waimong replied casually. "Then you go first, I will find him." Van Han smiled, stepping lightly on the snow to the room. She pushed the door, saw So Phong squatting by the stove, adding wood and bark. Hearing her, he turned. "Can we eat now?" "Yes, I came to check on you." Van Han smiled gently, closing the door behind her. So Phong brushed ash from his hands, stood and said warmly, "The seeds are sown, in about half a month they should sprout." "Look at you, face full of ash." Van Han pouted, tiptoed, and wiped his face clean. Her face reddened as she carefully wiped the last speck. "Come on, did you not say dinner is ready?" So Phong smiled, took her hand, checked once more around, then pushed the door out. Creak. Lu Wai Thursday saw them, said softly, "Hurry, dinner is getting cold." "Then let us eat." Van Han smiled brightly. Together with So Phong they went in and sat at the wooden table. Lu Waimong had served clam soup. Tonight's dishes were greens stir-fried with wild vegetables, mushrooms with venison, and a pot of clam seaweed soup. Tonight's meal is rich. So Phong smiled, sipping hot soup, warmth spreading. She picked wild vegetables, chewed, frowned helplessly, after thawing they are mushy, stir-fried not tasty. The observers in the room, Min and others, stared at their meal. No Tin Noyet licked her lips, murmured, that clam soup looks delicious. Teacher Vong, if you went to survive in the wild now, could you eat like this? No Tin Noyet asked slyly. I suppose, maybe. Vong Lam's lips twitched, voice uncertain. Recently he had learned much, like firing pottery, making paper. I can too. Tay Vi Din said coldly. She too had learned much, after all the wilderness survival 365 days broadcast constantly, anyone not dull could learn something. Eh? Vong Lam was speechless. Min changed topic, laughing. The director must have prepared boxed meals, I believe soon we will eat too. Chapter 330, Your Body is So Cold. After dinner, So Phong and the others sat around the wall fireplace, chatting while whittling wood. Van Han, this is for you. Lu Wai Thursday blushed, secretly handing the girl 2 clean dried pads. Van Han smiled softly and asked, has Auntie left? Yes. Lu Wai Thursday nodded gently. That is good. Van Han stood up, tucked them under the sleeping bag to reuse later. So Phong lowered his head and continued working with wood chips. Inside the cultivation room were still 2 pots of mushrooms needing sawdust and water. Sister, you came 4 days late, so I should be soon. Lu Wai Mong counted on her fingers. Tomorrow or the day after. Lu Wai Thursday replied with a twitch of her lips. Hee, what about you, Van Han? Lu Wai Mong teased. So Phong twitched his lips. They talked about such private matters openly before him. He coughed twice and said, all right, wash up and get ready to sleep. Okay. The 3 girls laughed and went to wash. 15 minutes later they lay in bed whispering. So Phong moved the wood vat aside, stroked the chips, then walked to the door. Van Han saw and asked, So Phong, where are you going? Adding wood to the cultivation room, or else the soil will freeze and seeds will not sprout. He replied casually, pushing the door open and stepping out. He trudged through the snow to the room, opened the wooden door. Inside a faint fire still burned, he quickly stuffed dry grass, lit a torch bright, and added logs. Not bad. He checked, then left. Returning, he saw the girls quiet. He took a walnut, cracked it, and placed it into the bamboo cage. Chi of the squirrel hugged its fluffy tail, glaring and waving tiny claws. Not easy to tame you. So Phong chuckled, dropping the nut inside. He stretched, washed briefly, added logs to the fire, then slipped into the sleeping bag. Your body is so cold. Van Han murmured, turning to snuggle close. Yes, now sleep. She rubbed her head against his chest for comfort. Sleep. He whispered, patting her back rhythmically. Elsewhere, Tran Chi Hai and his group sat around a bonfire. They had left their old shelter 5 days ago, traveling slowly, each night finding a spot to rest by fire. Tonight in the forest, they cleared land, built a crude hut with logs, piled snow around, then lit bonfires for warmth. Still 3 or 4 days more. Zhao Lei rubbed his arms, lips blue from cold. He endured by willpower, eyeing enviously Tran Chi Hai's rabbit fur boots, made from hairs caught by He Xiong. The others wore only straw shoes patched with cloth. That was just an estimate. He Xiong said gravely, originally 7 or 8 days to the bamboo forest, but snow doubled the time. Never thought the show was this cruel, sending us to a snow island. Tran Chi Hai said bitterly. Will there really be food there? Zhao Lei rubbed his stomach, starving for days. In snow, food was scarce, meat stores finished, even weeds were rare. I saw a bamboo grove, surely there are shoots. He Xiong answered calmly. Again with shoots. Zhao Lei muttered, craving meat. Their makeshift clothes barely kept them warm. Having food at all is good. Tran Chi Hai said, his belly growling. Tonight he only ate frozen wilted greens. Zhao Lei wanted to complain more, but his brother kicked him, signaling to stop. "Brother, quit arguing," Zhao Loi whispered. "All right, sleep, tomorrow we march," Tran Shihai said, closing his eyes. Zhao Lei ground his teeth, turning his back. It was his turn to keep watch. In this weather they must guard the fire, or a dying meant death. 2 hours later. Zhao Lei yawned, swaying from sleepiness. Hoo. A gust blew, he shivered awake, heart pounding. If he had slept, the fire would die and they would perish. He quickly added logs, flames roared bright. Tomorrow's march would need constant fire stops, this flame must be kept alive. Chapter 331, How to Produce Crude Cement. The temperature is dropping again, it will be troublesome to go out later. So Phong pushed open the wooden door, looking at the snow falling randomly outside. Today So Phong and Van Han woke up very early. He went to check the cultivation room, while the girl prepared breakfast. Toa. He stepped on the soft snow and entered the cultivation room, warmer than outside. Inside, the fire in the wall stove was almost out. He lit a torch, the dim room brightened, the heat rose again. He stood up, pressed his finger on the bamboo tubes in the soil trough. He worried the watered soil might freeze, but no ice was felt. Hurry and sprout. He squatted, checking each bamboo joint, hoping sprouts would appear. No. Lu Waimong frowned awake, her legs twitching under the quilt. Lu Wai Thursday also woke, touching her sister's hand resting on her chest. She noticed something odd and asked, "What is it?" "Auntie has come." Lu Waimong pouted. "Did it leak?" Lu Wai Thursday asked urgently. "Yes, it leaked." Lu Waimong mumbled. Lu Wai Thursday's mouth twitched. Yesterday they just talked about it, today it came. Van Han held a bamboo spoon, hiding her laugh, and whispered, "Sister Thursday, the pads are in the sleeping bag below." "All right." Lu Wai Thursday quickly got up, barefoot, reaching under the sleeping bag. She grabbed a cloth, muttered suspiciously, "This is not a pad." Just then, So Phong coughed, "Ahem, that is my underwear." "Ah, sorry." Lu Wai Thursday blushed, stuffing it back. She searched again, finally finding 2 pads. "Handle it quickly, don't stain the bed and clothes." She discreetly handed them to her sister. Lu Waimong took them, wrapped in the blanket, and went to the toilet. Luckily men don't deal with this, or they would go crazy. So Phong muttered, turning to check the fungus pot. He lifted the straw cover, the wood chips were damp but no fungus appeared. He carried the pot to the cultivation room where conditions were better. Returning, he saw Lu Waimong done, still grumpy but helping Van Han by the stove. Women are truly magical beings. He sighed. "Sister Mon, rest, let me do this." Van Han said gently. "No need, I am fine." Lu Waimong waved, slicing goat meat into thin pieces. The girl watched, reassured seeing her lively. She compared with her own painful times, while the Lu sisters seemed unfazed. So Phong asked Lu Wai Thursday, "Is your sister really fine?" "She is fine," Lu Wai Thursday said. She recalled her struggles while her sister just dozed. He frowned, perhaps due to nourishing food? He fetched soaked deer hide and wolfskin, squeezed them dry, took them outside. "Go inside, it is cold," he urged. "I will help, it will be faster." Lu Wai Thursday squatted, beating fat off the wolfskin with a stick. Snowflakes fell, she shivered, goosebumps rising. He frowned, sped up, his stick thudding fast. 20 minutes later, he stopped, rubbing the deer hide, most fat gone, odor faded. Lu Wai Thursday, weaker, only half finished the wolfskin. She hurried inside, fearing a cold, rinsed the hide in water, then stretched it to dry by the stove. Van Han wiped her hands, opened the door. "So Phong, done yet?" "Done, come in." He tossed the stick, wrung the wolfskin, carried it in, shut the door, rinsed, stretched it near the stove. The four sat at the wooden table, eating breakfast. So Phong, are you going out today, or doing something? Lu Waimong mumbled with goat meat in her mouth. Cement? The three girls were shocked. Making cement in the wild? After the meal, you will know. So Phong smiled, but this crude method would take much time and effort. Chapter 332, Primitive Method of Making Cement Inside. The three girls, curious about how So Phong would make cement, ate quickly, usually taking half an hour to be full, but this time finishing in just over 10 minutes. After cleaning up bowls and leftovers, they looked at So Phong with expectation. So Phong smiled, stood up, took out the deer skin and red wolf skin soaked in the cauldron, rinsed them, and replaced with clean water. He then pulled over a wooden rack containing ash from the cauldron, placing it aside. So Phong, could this gray wood ash be for making cement? Van Han asked in surprise. Yes, very clever. So Phong smiled, indeed ash was the raw material. Books. Ash can make cement? I cannot believe it. Lu Waimong shook her head. Cement was so hard, how could ash make it? She remembered So Phong had used ash for many things, softening hides, making soap, preventing rot, and healing chapped lips. Little Bon Bon, he is going to show a big trick. Making cement from ash? Sounds impossible. Do not say too soon, you may be slapped later. Yes, here nothing is impossible for So Phong. First, give you 5 cents to clear the bullets, let me speak. Let us try. So Phong smiled, poured ash into the water jar, stirred with a stick. After over 10 minutes, letting the ash settle, he scooped the grayish water into ceramic jars. I will help. Lu Waimong fetched another jar to assist. Van Han frowned, asked curiously, what are these? These are products after dissolving ash, mainly calcium hydroxide and calcium carbonate. So Phong said softly. Ash contained potassium carbonate, harmful for cement, but dissolving removed it. Left were calcium hydroxide and calcium carbonate, the key to primitive cement. Calcium hydroxide and calcium carbonate. Van Han frowned, full of chemical terms. Though she had self-studied all high school and even some college, she still could not understand. The Lu sisters were also confused. Chemistry was never their strength. So Phong smiled. Next, I need your help. How to do it? Lu Waimong asked eagerly. Knead the paste into lumps, then dry them on the wall stove. So Phong explained. He grabbed a lump of gray paste, pressed into a ball, placed it on the stove wall to dry. Looks like fun. Lu Waimong's eyes shone. She rolled up sleeves to knead. Lu Wai Thursday and the younger girl joined. Holding a lump the size of a fist, Lu Waimong laughed. Is this fine? As long as it fits inside the stove. So Phong replied. So Phong, is this cement already? Van Han asked gently. Not yet, still several steps. He shook his head. The four worked together. Half an hour later the stove wall was full of lumps. Good, next wait for them to dry before moving on. So Phong clapped his hands. What next? Lu Wai Thursday asked. I will go to the small stream to bring back some sand. So Phong said, cement needed sand, he would fetch it. Around camp there was little sand, mixed with debris, not usable, so better to fetch from the stream. No need, I will return quickly. He patted the little girl's head. It was too cold for her to go out, and he would not go far. He added, not much sand needed, 1 trip is enough. So Phong, what about these lumps? Lu Waimong asked curiously. She could not go out. Understood. The three nodded. I go now. So Phong put on a broad hat, took 2 bamboo baskets and rope, preparing to leave. So Phong, wait. Van Han called, pulling out 2 pairs of cloth pants. Wear more, keep warm. Still more? He smiled wryly, already wearing 3 pairs, 2 cloth, and 1 combat. Fine. He sighed, removed his outer pants, put on 2 more cloth, then the combat again, thick to the limit. I go now. He took the baskets, pushed the wooden door, and stepped out. Come back soon. Van Han waved. Got it. Without turning, he waved back, carrying the baskets to the stream. That morning he had read the sky, knew snow would fall but not hinder him. Soon he reached the shallow stream, where water left sand. Most importantly, feet stayed dry. Too large. Stones, leave them. He used the spade to push aside big rocks, scooping sand and pebbles. Creak, creak. The sound of spade grinding made one's skin crawl. Half an hour later, both baskets were full of sand. Time to return. He stretched his back, shook off snow, exercised a bit. Turning, he carried one basket on his back, one in front, and trudged back through thick snow. Chapter 333, Primitive Cement Production Method Part 2. Lu Yimeng, be careful. Lu Yizhu warned seriously. I know. Lu Yimeng bit her lip, held the bamboo tongs tight, and placed the dried clumps into the furnace. The tongs wobbled in her hand, the clumps unstable and ready to fall. Yun Han and Lu Yizhu held their breath until Lu Yimeng succeeded in dropping the clump inside. Let me do it, watching you makes me nervous. Lu Yizhu took the tongs from her sister. It looks simple but it is very hard. Lu Yimeng pouted. The tongs were long, the clumps round, and hard to hold steady. Ah! Sister, why is it so easy for you? Lu Yimeng stared in surprise as her sister placed clumps one after another. Because you are too clumsy. Lu Yizhu frowned. You are clumsy, everyone has strengths, I am just not good at this. Lu Yimeng defended. What are you good at? Lu Yizhu asked softly. Good at. Lu Yimeng opened her mouth, thought for a while, then muttered, I am good at archery. Sister, how can you say that? Lu Yimeng cried out, waving her hands. Lu Yizhu glanced at her, thought, then added, you are good at eating a lot. Oof. Lu Yimeng glared angrily. Yun Han stifled her laughter, shoulders shaking. Yun Han, you dare laugh at me. Lu Yimeng jumped at her, wrestling playfully. Ha 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 ha. Lu Yizhu frowned, looked at her sister, and warned, Lu Yimeng, careful not to fall. Ah! Lu Yimeng froze, quickly covered her bottom, face red. Fall? Lu Yizhu twitched her lips. I will clean up. Lu Yimeng muttered, took a cloth, and went to the toilet. Lu Yizhu rubbed her temple, helpless at such a careless sister. Books. After more than 10 minutes, Lu Yimeng came out holding a cleaned cloth. She crouched by the furnace, drying the cloth with the heat, in case she needed it again. I wonder when So Phong will return. Yun Han added wood, flames roared, sometimes turning the embers to burn the clumps evenly. She remembered So Phong said they must burn until golden hot. He should be back soon. Lu Yizhu answered softly, carrying bark. She had just fetched more wood and bark from the storehouse, because burning was not done quickly. She pushed the wooden door and entered another room. The fire is not out yet. Lu Yimeng mumbled, added wood again, and the fire blazed. She glanced at the trough of wild vegetable seeds, murmuring, please sprout soon, winter depends on you, or eating only meat will make us fat. Squeak! I am back. So Phong shouted, opened the gate, and placed the bamboo basket under the eaves. Squeak! Yun Han opened the door, looked out, and happily called, So Phong, come in quickly. So Phong smiled, brushed sand from his hands, and entered. I cooked some wild ginger soup, drink it while hot. Yun Han poured him a large bowl. He looked at Lu Yizhu fanning with banana leaves, and asked softly, how are the clumps burning? Let me check. So Phong squatted near the furnace, carefully picked up a clump, examined it, then returned it, saying, another half an hour should be enough. He lifted a cauldron, filled it with snow, and placed it by the furnace. After half an hour, the fire went out, leaving only glowing embers. So Phong, is it ready? Louis Zhu asked. Yes. So Phong checked, took out more than 200 clumps, and nodded. He placed them outside to cool. In such cold weather, they cooled in half an hour. So Phong squeezed one, it crumbled, and he threw it into a water jar where snow had melted. The clumps dissolved slowly and sank. So Phong, should we put all of them in? Yun Han asked. Yes, all of them. So Phong replied. Okay. Yun Han carefully dropped them in. I will help too. Louis Zhu joined. Soon all clumps were inside, dissolved into slurry. So Phong carried sand in, poured it into the jar, and stirred with a shovel. So Phong, is this cement? Louis Zhu asked. Yes, this is a primitive way to make cement. So Phong smiled and nodded. He did not know how effective it would be, since it was his first attempt. Chapter 334, The Smoke Channel. Let's build an earth bed. So Phong smiled faintly. This was why he urgently wanted to make cement. With an earth bed, the winter would be far more comfortable, at least they would not wake shivering in the night. Ah! You even know how to build an earth bed? Lu Wai Thursday exclaimed. Earth beds were common in the north, a treasure to keep warm during snowy days. It is simple, with cement it is not hard. So Phong replied softly. How do we make it? Van Han asked curiously. First move the large beds aside, otherwise there is no space to build. He explained, the two large beds took too much room. All right. The three women answered together, working to move the beds near the wooden table, clearing a corner. This space is just right. He nodded, planning a large earth bed for the four of them. What next? Lu Wai Thursday asked gently. Bring some stones and sand. He thought aloud, taking a shovel outside. I will help you. Lu Wai Mong rolled up her sleeves and followed eagerly. He went into the yard, set aside two tuet, shoveled away the snow, and dug up the soil. Lu Wai Mong searched for stones, soon joined by Lu Wai Thursday, who also carried rocks inside. The girl wore a white hat, crouched with a bamboo basket, holding the soil he dug and carrying it bit by bit. Time passed slowly, more than half an hour. Done. The sisters replied, arms full of stones, stepping on the snow back inside. The large beds had been moved, opening the space, the ground now covered with rubble, dirt, and rocks. What do we do next? Lu Wai Mong asked eagerly. We first make cement slabs. He placed down the basket, speaking softly. He squatted, tied bamboo into a square frame, lined banana leaves on the ground, set the frame, and poured in the cement, pressing it flat. Good, once dry it will be one slab. He nodded. How many slabs do we need? Lu Wai Mong asked while tying bamboo, filling with cement. 20 slabs. He answered, he wanted the bed to be 2 meters by 2.5, big enough for 4 people to sleep without crowding. Right away. Lu Wai Mong replied excitedly. The four worked nearly an hour more, finally making 20 slabs, covering the floor with little space left. Some cement remains, enough to build the bed wall. He measured along the wall to mark the place. An earth bed was built against a corner, so only 2 walls were needed. Once measured, he began laying stones, like building their shelter, only now with cement instead of clay, faster. With the women's help, he spent over an hour building 2 walls, about 80 centimeters tall. One wall facing the fireplace was sealed, while the hidden corner left a 10-centimeter hole to connect to the fireplace, channeling heat. Lu Wai Mong pouted and muttered, "It looks like a pig pen. When finished it will not." He chuckled, poured sand into the walls, stepped in, packed it firm, then coated it with cement to hold heat. The smoke channel was built in an S shape, from the heat inlet circling under the bed, level with the walls. The warmth came from hot smoke circulating below, and the S shape kept it longer. Most importantly, the channel also acted as pillars for the slabs. He worked for more than half an hour, finishing the channel, using all the cement. We must wait for it to dry before continuing, he said softly, smoothing the seams. Half the bed was complete.
NK Books.
It is dark already. He looked out, night had fallen.
Go wash your face, So Phong.
Lu Wai Thursday said gently.
All right.
He looked at his hands covered in cement, fetched water, and washed.
I will help with dinner.
Lu Wai Mong hurried to join the girl. Lu Wai Thursday made a broom from dry branches, swept the dirt and rocks, clearing a spot for the bed tonight.
Walk carefully,
she reminded softly. The muddy floor was slippery.
Chapter 335, Sleep Peacefully.
Late at night the cold wind howled. Van Han placed the ceramic pot of clam soup on the wooden table, then brought 2 plates of stir-fried vegetables. She clapped her hands, took bowls and chopsticks from the rack and softly called, "Do not rush, come have dinner."
All right.
Lu Wai Thursday put down the broom, washed her hands and sat on the wooden chair. He went to the storage room, adding more wood to the wall stove.
Lu Wai Thursday said quietly. Then I will call him. Van Han set down the bowl, about to leave.
The wooden door creaked open, so Phong came in holding little Snow, stroking its soft fur.
The 4 sat around the table, eating and talking.
In the live stream, the observers appeared on time, watching the group of So Phong.
Haha, they are eating again.
Ha Min laughed, patting his belly. Their meal was still being prepared.
Why does their shelter look messy? Do they plan to change it?
No Tin Noyet leaned forward through the camera, seeing rubble and cement boards on the ground.
Looks familiar. Vong Lam frowned. Dear viewers, do you recognize what that is? Ha Min raised his brows, engaging the audience. Comments flooded. Most were fans of So Phong. They knew what he was building.
No Tin Noyet read a comment. They are making an earth bed. Soon, highlighted rainbow comments slowly floated by, rewards worth more than 50,000 yuan. This was a new feature, showing colorful trails. Currently So Phong's channel ranked first in popularity, with daily views over 50 million, second only to the main Observer channel. So it is an earth bed, no wonder it looked familiar.
Vong Lam whispered.
He once slept on such a bed in his hometown.
And those slabs? Ha Min asked. Cement. Red comments flashed. Cement? Did So Phong make cement already?
No Tin Noyet exclaimed.
Comments poured in, explaining everything. Ash can make cement?
The observers were shocked. We need to watch the edited version. No Tin Noyet said softly, curious about how to make cement from ash. Each day the live was edited and broadcast on TV. So Phong is tougher and tougher. Ha Min sighed, surprised they could even make cement and an earth bed. What else could they not do? Meanwhile, the 4 finished dinner, cleaned up and sat around the wall stove for warmth.
How should we sleep tonight? Van Han asked softly.
Lu Wai Thursday looked around. Only one large bed fit, other places were filled with stove and racks, no room for another unless cement was cleared.
Let me think. So Phong frowned, the space was indeed too small.
He looked at the big bed and said, then we sleep sideways, 4 people on one bed. The bed was 2 meters by 1.8, enough for 4 side by side.
Okay, you sleep on the edge.
Van Han smiled gently, wanting to sleep beside the sisters. Or we can sleep on the ground, or in the storage room. Lu Wai Thursday shyly said.
No need, the bed is big enough.
Van Han shook her head and spread mats. Just endure for now, when the cement is done we will have another bed. So Phong said softly.
It is already very good.
Lu Wai Thursday waved.
Let me help.
Lu Wai Mong stood, moved hay and blankets, arranging them at the bed's end. Soon the bed was tidy. She sat back at the stove, sewing fur trousers for So Phong with deer hide. Leftover hide was sewn into pants for herself.
I will check the storage room. So Phong stood and laughed. Tonight behave yourself.
Lu Wai Thursday whispered in her sister's ear, fearing she would scare Van Han and So Fong. I cannot control myself. Lu Wai Mong muttered, recalling 2 days ago hiding in the cave with him, blushing.
No, nothing.
She quickly replied seriously. Lu Wai Thursday stared and reminded, lie straight, keep your hands and feet still.
Got it. Lu Wai Mong pouted.
Looking at her hands, she whispered, tonight I must behave. More than 10 minutes later, So Fong returned, locking the wooden door. He said softly, we worked hard today, let us rest early.
Yes. Van Han fixed the thread, finishing one pant leg, leaving the rest for tomorrow.
Lu Wai Mong yawned, brush teeth, wash face, then sleep.
She picked up toothbrush and toothpaste and entered the bathroom. Chapter 336, The Crafted Bed.
So Fong crouched by the fireplace in the wall, adding some logs. The 3 girls were lying on the bed, Lu Wai Mong at the foot, Lu Wai Thursday and Van Han in the middle, whispering together.
Van Han tilted her head and asked softly, So Fong, are you still awake? Going to sleep.
So Fong stood, stretched his back, covered the fire, then went to the bed, took off his shoes, and climbed in. He lifted the sleeping bag and slipped inside, the girl nestled against him. So Fong frowned, wrapped his arm around her waist, and pulled her closer.
Go.
Van Han blushed, whispering, they are all here.
We are not doing anything.
So Fong smiled, looked at her flushed face, and whispered, or do you want to do something?
No.
Her long lashes trembled as she pinched his waist. She rubbed her head against him, ignoring if the Lu sisters saw.
Sister, your chest is pressing me. Lu Wai Mong muttered.
Shut up, go to sleep.
NK books.
Lu Wai Thursday whispered, turning her back to avoid disturbing them.
Really?
Lu Wai Mong turned and lay on her side, resting her leg on her sister.
Lu Wai Mong.
Embarrassed, she pulled her leg back.
Go.
Van Han slowly opened her eyes, pursed her lips, and looked sideways. So Fong was still fast asleep, and she stared at him. After more than a month of wilderness survival, his once boyish face became sharp, his body stronger, more mature.
Go, sister, too big.
Lu Wai Mong mumbled behind her, Van Han turned back. Lu Wai Thursday lay flat, while Lu Wai Mong leaned half her body over her sister, murmuring. Such good feelings. Van Han smiled, carefully climbed out of the sleeping bag, put on her shoes, and went to the fireplace, adding logs and kindling, lighting the fire. On the bed, Lu Wai Thursday woke up, rubbed her eyes, frowned, pushed away her sister's hand, yawned, and quietly got up.
Good morning. She whispered.
Good morning, Thursday sister.
Van Han smiled back, fetched the iron pot, filled it with water, and set it on the fire.
What for breakfast today?
Lu Wai Thursday asked. Noodle soup, with frozen venison, it will taste nice. Van Han said while preparing the dough. I will cut the venison.
Lu Wai Thursday offered. She took out 5 wild eggs, kept 2, and cracked 3 into a bowl. Van Han sniffed, no bad smell, then poured them into the dough.
No snow, yet so cold.
Lu Wai Thursday opened the door, holding venison.
I hope winter comes soon. Van Han agreed.
Lu Wai Thursday rinsed the meat, set it near the fire to thaw.
Go. Lu Wai Mong and So Fong woke, leaving the bed. Morning.
Lu Wai Mong rubbed her eyes and greeted lazily.
Mind your manners. Lu Wai Thursday warned. Nah.
Lu Wai Mong mumbled, heading to the toilet. So Fong stretched, checked the wall bed.
This weather should be fine.
He squatted, touched the cement floor, murmured, this part is done too.
Still building the earthen bed today? Lu Wai Mong asked.
Yes, today finish it, tomorrow we can sleep on it.
So Phong said.
The cold slowed cement hardening, but inside was fine with the fireplace.
That is great.
Lu Waimong smiled, adjusted her clothes, and helped by the fire. So Phong washed his face. Creak. He opened the wooden door, lit the wall fireplace to warm the room. Add more water. He murmured, filling a pot, watering the seedlings. After 20 minutes, done, he checked the jar, lifted the straw, and brightened. Ah, mycelium strands. In the jar, damp sawdust sprouted white threads, clinging. In a few days, mushrooms will grow. He smiled, covered it back. Outside, a girl called, "So Phong, breakfast." Coming. He answered, checked once more, then left for the shelter. Chapter 337, Growth and Ideals. So Feng, will we need to make more cement later? Hanin asked softly. Yes, we will need quite a lot more. So Feng nodded as he sipped the soup. The ashes are running low, it might not be enough. Hanin spoke while chewing venison. Last night and this morning they burned mostly dry grass and bark for ash, but only filled half a pot. The nursery stove also burned a lot, gathered together it is almost enough. So Feng replied quietly, since the wall furnace had been burning bark and twigs all day, piling up much ash. She had only seen earthen beds on television, now she finally had the chance to try. Tomorrow we can sleep on it. So Feng smiled, the earthen bed and cement smoke ducts were already built, another busy day made it almost done. Yes. Hanin nodded gently. The four of them spent over 20 minutes finishing breakfast. Liu Thursday carried dishes to wash. Liu Meng followed So Feng into the nursery, collecting the ash. After more than 10 minutes, So Feng carried out half a pot of ash. Following yesterday's process, he first put ash into water and stirred, then skimmed off the potash water, leaving behind a gray paste. The three girls helped, kneading the paste into fist-sized lumps, drying them, then firing in the furnace until glowing, then removing. This work lasted until noon, the ground covered with finished lumps. So Feng shoveled them into a water jar, stirred, then added sand, mixing quickly into another pot of cement, until the last basket of sand was used. So Feng, what next? Liu Thursday asked softly. Spread the rubble evenly in the bed. So Feng pointed at the stones. Okay. The three girls busily spread rubble in the S-shaped duct. So Feng crouched by the wall, sealing the warm air outlet with stone and cement, forming a hollow duct leading to the furnace. He used a goat horn chisel, carefully cut into the furnace wall, after nearly an hour making a square hole of 10 centimeters. It was not fully pierced, a thin layer of half-baked clay remained to block smoke and fire. They had to wait until the bed dried before piercing through, then hot smoke could enter. So Feng used stone and cement to link the furnace opening with the hollow duct. He stood, checked the girls' work spreading rubble, found no issue, then moved cement slabs, removed banana leaves lining, plastered cement on duct and bed top, and set slabs down. He tapped with his shovel, glancing at angles, scraping off excess cement. On-screen viewers filled the chat. The tapping looks so real, only builders understand. A large red bullet comment trailed light across. Superfan boss appeared, hurry to hold the thigh. This is to make cement stick better to bricks, and spread more evenly. Another red bullet swept across, explaining in a dozen words. Let me help. Liu Thursday swiftly tore off the banana peel layer and handed the slab. The other girls hurried too, soon 20 slabs were in place. So Feng spread cement between slabs and walls. At last he plastered 2 centimeters more over the surface, smoothing with bamboo. Good, once dry it is done. So Feng set down the bamboo and smiled. After 2 busy days, the bed was finished. Looks fine, just seems a bit tall. Hanin pouted. The bed had been 80 centimeters, plus 4 of slab and another thick layer, nearly 90, inconvenient for a girl. He squatted, stacked stones as 2 steps, plastered with cement to fix, so she could climb up. I will grow taller. Hanin sulked, not expecting to need steps to reach the bed. You are already taller than before. So Feng smiled, pausing his hand covered in cement that wanted to pat her head. She stood beside him, measured her height against him, then turned to look at her finger's mark. Sofeng flicked her forehead and smiled. Silly girl, that is because I also grew taller.
Really? Seems so.
Hanin widened her eyes, realizing he had indeed grown taller. But living together daily, small changes were hard to see. Maybe when leaving Xianyue Island, you will be 1.60 meters.
Sofeng smiled. Hanin blushed, waved. 1.60 meters will not be my limit. Sister, did I grow taller? Liu Yumeng tilted her head. Not taller, but fatter. Liu Yu Thursday replied calmly.
She poked her sister's waist and joked, Sister, do not just tease me, you are chubby too.
Really?
Liu Yu Thursday pursed her lips, measuring her own waist with fingers.
Chapter 338, Claiming the Time Gift.
In the camp, Van Han stood before the hearth preparing dinner, a clay pot on the fire releasing a rich meaty aroma. She leaned close, sniffed, and murmured, the scent of cinnamon is rising. Tonight's meal was wild boar stew, this time with St. George mushrooms, wood ear mushrooms, and cinnamon, tasting unlike before. So fragrant. Lu Waimong rushed over. She had just helped her sister clean the hideout, wiping the table again. The floor was messy from building the earthen bed, with sand and cement, so the sisters spent much effort clearing rubble and mud. After tidying, the place was neat. 2 large beds could be set again, though space was tight, so they put one away, planning to squeeze for the night. Tomorrow they would sleep on the earthen bed.
A few more minutes, then we can eat. Van Han smiled, the stew sent whetting appetites. Lu Waimong whispered, I will call Sofeng to eat.
All right.
Van Han replied.
Since finishing the earthen bed, Sofeng had stayed in the cultivation room. Lu Waimong pushed the wooden door, stepped through thick snow to the room, gently knocked, Sofeng, dinner is ready.
All right.
His voice came, then the door opened. What are you busy with? She asked curiously.
He was mixing insect repellent to place around the room against pests.
She nodded, curious how it was made. They returned through snow. The girl set the pot on the table. Lu Wai Thursday was serving stew.
Sit, let's eat. Van Han smiled brightly.
So fragrant. Sofeng sat, grabbed a piece of meat, stuffed it in, chewing slowly. Cinnamon scent filled his mouth. He raised a thumb, delicious. No, Lu Waimong covered her mouth. The meat was hot, but she still chewed eagerly, eyes satisfied. It has been so long since this taste. With star anise or bay leaves, it would be better.
Van Han said shyly. I wonder if this island has them.
Sofeng murmured, the strange climate might hold such. After half an hour, all 4 had emptied the pot, only 4 cups of hot pine needle tea remained.
Eating like this, leaving the wild, I will gain many pounds.
Lu Waimong rubbed her belly. We can exercise more, like archery.
Sofeng laughed.
He never thought he would worry about gaining weight here. Lu Waimong clenched a fist, determined, it has been long since archery practice, tomorrow I start again.
3 days fishing, 2 drying nets. Lu Wai Thursday glanced, speaking blandly.
Not true, I will persist for you to see.
Lu Waimong pouted. Wait and see.
Lu Wai Thursday smirked, stood to clean dishes, then went to wash. Do your best, with good archery, in spring we can hunt. Sofeng encouraged. You too, do your best. He smiled, stroking her head.
Machem, try these fur pants I made today.
Van Han blushed, taking them out.
All right.
Sofeng held them, looked toward the washroom, then undressed his outer layer, removing 2 cloth trousers.
Lu Waimong blushed, turning away. Ahem, still wearing pants.
He coughed, as one remained. She peeked, confirmed, then lowered her hands. He tightened the rope, stepped a few steps, smiled, perfect fit.
Wear them, it will be warmer. Van Han laughed.
A moment later, Lu Wai Thursday returned, sat by the hearth chatting, sewing fur trousers.
Time passed. So Phong drank pine tea, yawned. Are you tired? Van Han asked gently. Not bad, just bored.
He smiled. Snow left little to do but wait.
Bathe then sleep early, she said, fetching clothes and towel. All right.
He stretched, fetched water, heated stones, and entered the washroom. After over 10 minutes, he returned clean. The three girls washed in turn.
Half an hour later, all lay on the large bed, snug in sleeping bags. Today marks 18 days, seems a gift pack is near. He recalled. The 19th day was gift time, only hours away. He yawned, embraced the girl's waist, murmured, tomorrow we will see. Chapter 339, Plant Oil Pressing. So Phong slightly opened his eyes, covering his mouth with a yawn.
He glanced at the young girl sleeping soundly on him, then gently laid her down and quietly climbed off the earthen bed. After putting on his shoes, he looked at the Lu sisters, Lu Weimeng still treating Lu Wei Thursday, their bare arms and feet exposed.
NK books.
He pulled the quilt over them, then lit the wall stove so the shelter warmed up.
He stood, touched the earthen bed, and whispered, it was finished quickly, let's heat it first.
Returning to the stove, he used the engineer's shovel to probe into the vent and tapped the clay wall thinly covering the channel. The new bed was filled with cold air, pouring too much hot smoke at once could crack it.
He checked carefully for over 10 minutes, then sighed in relief. It's a bit warm.
He felt the surface, no longer cold but warm to the touch. After ensuring no leaks, he went out.
Seems last night I slept too early. He looked at the sky. It was about 6:30 in the morning. A virtual screen appeared, showing day 19. Ding!
7 days marked, reward package obtained.
A mechanical voice echoed in his mind.
He walked to the training room while ordering, open the package.
Ding! Gained plant oil pressing technique, beginner. Ding! Gained carving experience, beginner. As expected, an auditory enhancement potion too. He smiled, entered the room, closed the door to block the drones, added wood and hay into the stove, and lit the fire again. Used the auditory enhancement potion. Ding! Potion in use.
Soon his ears tingled, then buzzed like bees swarming past. It lasted about 6 minutes, then faded, leaving sharper hearing.
Not bad at all.
He rubbed his ears. Now he could hear what he couldn't before, like the wind rattling the window. Next he ordered, open plant oil pressing technique package.
Ding! Transmitting knowledge.
His head ached for 10 minutes, then filled with knowledge. After digesting it, he whispered, if I find a few fruit plants, I can solve the oil issue. Boar oil left was enough for only about 8 days. He then said, open the last package.
Ding! Transmitting carving knowledge.
Pain surged like being hit with a pan, sweat covered his forehead.
So Phong, are you inside?
Van Han called outside, worried after not seeing him.
I'm here lighting the stove. He wiped sweat. Creak.
The door opened, the girl peeked in, the drone followed.
Good then, I'll cook breakfast. Van Han sighed in relief and left.
So Phong glanced at the drone, pressed his lips, added wood, and organized his thoughts.
Carving experience, wood carving, snow carving, ice carving, even sand carving? He chuckled. Is it pushing me toward art? But for snowy days, it's not bad.
He checked the wild vegetable seeds and soil moisture. In 2 days, they should sprout. The soil was damp, no need to water today. He checked another pot of fungus, the mycelium had doubled.
In 2 days, the fungus will be ready to plant.
He covered it with straw, thinking it was both practice and a profitable skill for later.
Chapter 340, Experiencing the Plan. Cough cough, Tin Noyet and Vi Din, take a look at these documents.
Ha Min handed over 2 files.
Teacher Ha, what kind of documents?
No Tin Noyet curiously accepted and asked.
See for yourself, you may find it interesting. Ha Min smiled. Ah, really?
No Tin Noyet finished reading, eyes widened in surprise.
A wilderness observer experience plan? Correct, this is the plan made by the directors. You just read it, now they ask for your opinion. Would you like to join a wilderness trial?
Ha Min smiled warmly. The so-called Wilderness Observer Experience Plan was for No Tin Noyet and Te Vai Din to go together to Huin Noyet Island for survival, lasting 2 weeks, which was 14 days.
Why are you and Teacher Vong not joining?
No Tin Noyet tilted her head curiously.
Teacher Vong is already an expert in wilderness survival, and I must stay to answer questions for the audience. Ha Min explained. I see. No Tin Noyet rested her chin, thinking.
Te Vai Din half closed her eyes, excitement in her gaze.
Teacher Ha, let me think, I will give you a clear answer tonight.
No Tin Noyet looked at the clock, already 8, the broadcast was about to begin.
Good, no problem.
Ha Min smiled gently. He only conveyed the director's words, the rest must be arranged with them directly.
Vai Din's sister, will you go?
No Tin Noyet whispered.
It sounds fun, why not?
Te Vai Din softly replied. It does sound tempting. No Tin Noyet frowned, torn inside.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
No Tin Noyet quickly sat down, relaxed her brows, smiled at the camera, and another live broadcast began. On Huin Noyet Island, So Phong and his group sat around a wooden table eating breakfast.
Alright, wait a little longer, then we can lie on the heated bed.
So Phong said softly, the bed had been heated for over an hour, the cold air was gone, it would only get warmer.
So Phong, can we eat on the bed from now on?
Van Han swallowed her meat, asked curiously. I saw on TV, many northern people eat on their beds. We can, I will make a small low table, from now on we eat on the bed, experiencing northern lifestyle.
So Phong laughed.
After more than 20 minutes, the 4 finished breakfast, cleaned the dishes, and gathered by the bed. So Phong touched the bed surface, the temperature was high but not burning. He removed his shoes, stepped on the bed, walked around, stomping each corner to ensure it was solid and no smoke leaked. All of you come up, see how much weight it holds.
So Phong waved. All right.
Van Han excitedly removed her shoes, stepped up carefully.
Me too.
Lu Wai Mong hurriedly climbed up.
So warm.
Lu Wai Thursday also stepped barefoot, her soles warmed, more comfortable than rabbit fur shoes. All of you walk around, careful if it cannot hold 4 people.
So Phong crouched, watching the bed. Okay.
The 3 girls circled around him on the bed. For nearly 10 minutes, no crack or instability appeared.
Only then did he sigh. Good, stop moving, or you may feel dizzy. I feel a bit dizzy.
Van Han held her head, shook, then sat down.
I told you to walk, not to spin.
So Phong smiled bitterly, pressing her temple gently, his fingers circling on a point on her head.
Ah, I feel less dizzy.
Van Han said in surprise. After a few presses the dizziness faded.
So Phong, press mine too. Lu Wai Mong pouted. All right.
So Phong laughed, turned, and massaged her temple the same way. So comfortable.
Lu Wai Mong exhaled, sleepy, her body leaned unconsciously toward him. Wake up, it is still early.
Lu Wai Thursday scolded, patting her sister's shoulder.
Ah.
Yes. Lu Wai Mong pursed her lips, sat straight, embarrassed.
So Phong smiled, tilted his head. Do you want me to press yours too?
Yes.
So Phong did not refuse.
He got down, went to the wall stove, took a shovel, and smashed the remaining clay. Lay down cloth, later we step barefoot. Van Han also got down, took several cloths from the shelf, spread them neatly on the bed.
What about those 2 big beds?
Lu Wai Thursday asked softly.
Move them outside, we may need them later.
So Phong said quietly, the hideout space was limited, 2 large beds would take too much space. He set down the shovel, finished clearing the clay, opened the wooden door, pushed the large bed outside under the roof. After about 7 or 8 minutes, both large beds were moved out, leaving the hideout much more spacious.